so I made it up to Lake Blanche. I can't see the lake because we're under a thick cloud cover, so everything's just foggy. Sundial Peak is right over there. You cannot see it at all. The sun is up, and so normally Sundial Peak will cast a good shadow and you can tell kind of which direction you're facing. But right now, there's no clues as to which direction I'm facing, except for I know where I'm at because of the lake. So let's say I wanted to make my way from here over up Sundial Peak. There isn't a trail right now. I'm gonna have to navigate my way over there. So I could pull out my GPS. I could look it up on my watch because I've got a route, but what if all those things are gone? I actually have the right tools for the job. It's a map and a compass. So I'm gonna pull out my map and my compass and we'll do some navigating. All right, so here I am. I've got my compass, my map. I brought a pencil and it was all packed in a Ziploc baggie to keep it nice and dry. So what I've done here is to find a dry spot to put this on. I've taken my backpack off, set my Ziploc down, and we'll use this as our navigation station. I'm gonna lay out my map and compass here. I'm gonna change the camera. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is orient my map to north. It's easy to do. All you have to do is take the compass, if I can get my hands on it here, and then line up north, and I've got this N is my magnetic north. I've accounted for declination. We'll talk about that in the blog post that goes with this video. So I'm lined up, north is lined up with my arrow of travel, and then what I want to do, put this flat on the map and get the red, which is my north, lined up with the north arrow, and then point my map, the north side, which is the top, right in line with both of those arrows. So now my map is oriented directly to the north. Now I know which way north is. Now I'm gonna leave my map oriented to the north and just move my compass around after this. Come over to this side. So now I'm facing north. My map's facing north. My compass is facing north. What I want to do is figure out where I am on my map. So we're going to triangulate my position on the map. And this is tricky because there aren't a lot of landmarks here. I do know where the lake is, and I know where I'm at. I'm right here on this little ridge. I'm gonna point myself back to this dam. There's a little man-made dam right there where I came from, and I'm gonna take a bearing on that. And then I'm gonna transfer the bearing back to the map. Okay, so to take a bearing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna point this compass directly at the landmark that I've chosen, which is that dam right over there. I'm gonna point it at that, and then I'm going to line up the magnetic needle with the north marker, and that will give me a bearing if I read it. So you can see I'm gonna line up wherever that magnetic needle, the red one, is. I'm gonna line up the N with it, and then I'm gonna take the bearing right here at my arrow line of indication of travel, and that will be my bearing, the direction that I need to go, and transfer to the map. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so I've lined up my landmark with this arrow, and then lined up these two arrows, and then I'm gonna read my bearing. You can see right there, the bearing says, it's kind of blurry, 100 and 127. So that's my bearing. I want to transfer that to the map. Okay, so now I'm going to transfer my bearing onto my map. So what I'm going to do is place the corner of the compass on the landmark that I just read from, and then I'm going to line up the orienting lines with the direction of travel. So N is facing the direction of travel, and then I'm going to line up the red needle with my bearing. So that's 127. Oh, sorry. So I lined it up with my true north. I need to line it up with my magnetic north, which I've drawn on here with a Sharpie marker. Oh, it's 11 degrees difference. So I'm going to line up, it's 127. And this isn't as accurate with short distance bearings, and I've got a short distance bearing. And then I'm just going to, once I get that bearing on there, I'm just going to draw a line. So I'm roughly along that line. I can pretty much figure out where I'm at with one line, but the more lines you have, the more accurate you're going to be. So I'm going to put 2 more lines down. I'm going to pick a couple other landmarks that I can kind of make out. One is this ridge, and the other, not quite sure yet. I may be able to make out sundial through the clouds. So if I can get those 3, I should be able to get my position. The problem is this one and this one are roughly in line with where I'm at. You want them to be spread out about 50 degrees or more to get a better reading. I'll see what I can do here, and I'm going to read these onto the map. Okay, so I just finished putting my bearings on the map. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a triangle right here. It's kind of long because these 2 bearings that I could read are kind of spaced out, but I'm roughly in this vicinity, and that's right where, pretty much right where I put my X. I know where I'm at, but if I didn't, I would have been able to figure out that's where I'm at. Now I can do stuff with that. I can now take my bearing, I can read my bearing from the map and find a heading to where I want to travel. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to figure out how to backtrack down the trail. I can look at the map, see where I'm at and where I want to go, and then get a bearing and put that on my compass and travel with my compass instead of having to navigate based on the trail. So let's go ahead and jump in and show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to read a bearing onto my compass from my map, and I've reoriented my map to north, so we're lined up here. What I'm going to do is put the corner on where I want to start from and just point it in the direction of travel with this direction of travel arrow ending where I want to be, which is down here at the trailhead. So now what I'm going to do is line up the lines of orientation, which are these black lines in the middle of the round bezel area, with I'm going to point north to north on the map, and then I'm going to make sure that these lines are parallel with the edge of my map. And then I'm going to read a bearing right up here, which says it's about 332 degrees. And the number is not as important as just keeping this lined up. So now what I can do with this is I'm just going to point my compass, and as I turn, line up north with my magnetic north, and that now becomes the direction I need to travel right down there, which, knowing where I just came from and where I'm headed, that's accurate. So as long as I keep this arrow pointed in that direction and the red lined up with north, the magnetic north, then I'll roughly end up at my destination. It's great for cross-country travel and there's no trail. You can just make your way out. And typically there's a strategy for if you veer off course, if you have to go left or right, you count your paces left and then you take that many paces back to the right and you go straight. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but this is how you take a bearing and follow a bearing on your compass to navigate back to where you're headed or wherever you're going. So it's getting cold up here. I've been up here in the cold standing around for a bit. I'm gonna pack up and start heading back down the trail, and I know my way because it's right here on my compass.